Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. If there is one thing every politician knows for absolute certain, regardless of political party, it is the fact that they know they are better than you.
We're better than you, and we know it.
They know it is preposterous for anyone to expect them to follow the same laws they impose on you. So of course, after Victoria Spartz, a US representative from Indiana, got caught trying to pass through airport security with a handgun, it was only natural that she would respond by saying she thinks Congresspeople should probably be allowed to carry a gun anywhere. Now don't get it twisted. She was not arguing for a fundamental right of the people to be armed. She is arguing that people like her should have special privileges because she believes her life to be more important, and she believes the places in Washington, D.C. and Virginia she has to drive through are more dangerous than the places you have to drive through. For that matter, she believes these bad neighborhoods are worse for her than for the people who live there.
I don't think you've thought this through.
Look, I'm not throwing shade at her for forgetting her heater in a carry-on, although that is pretty stupid. I'm criticizing her for her elitist attitude. Here's a hot take. The 5th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution prohibit any special exemption for any person. If you happen to agree with me and you'd like to take the opportunity to bully her for yourself, give her a call at 317-848-0201 and let her know how you feel about special privileges. Should politicians have special privileges? Should cops be exempt from gun control laws? Let her know.
Hell no, to the no, no, no.
But it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting twice, and now that braces are back on the menu, Franklin is hooking you up with 3 all-new factory-complete pistol models, all equipped with SB tactical braces from the factory, and of course, Franklin Armory binary firing systems. Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the fuse with their binary firing system, because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong. And by Vortex, we've been running their new Defender line of red dots hard since before launch. They've found a home on all of our guns, whether for concealment, for competition, or for anything in between. They are rugged, they are packed with features, and they flat out perform. With the CCW, the ST, and the XL, there is a dot for you. And let's not forget their no questions asked VIP warranty that covers just about anything. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. Speaking of special treatment, every so often I check the ATF press release page and find more people who got less time for having real, live, fully functioning machine guns than Matt Hoover and Chris Irvin got for selling a picture of a machine gun that wasn't even drawn to scale. Kylan Russell led police on a 120-mile-per-hour car chase, then fled on foot. 2 blickies and 2 switches were found in his car. He got 2 years in prison. LaMichael Hicks was minding his own business, parked in the middle of the street with another vehicle, possibly selling drugs, when police officers rudely interrupted his conversation. The truck Hicks was in took off and police pursued, as is their custom. Hicks jumped out, hurt himself, jumped back in the truck, then bailed out again later. But hey, nobody can outrun Motorola, and as one of the cops was running him down, Hicks pulled a handgun out of his waistband, dropped it, and he got caught when he tried to go back for it.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
The gun turned out to be a blicky chambered in .45 AARP, and of course it had a switch on it too. Hicks got just over 2 years. Meanwhile, Matt Hoover and Chris Irvin remain political prisoners over an unconstitutional law which they never actually broke in the first place. The clock is ticking, and your chance to force the ATF to give you a machine gun is running out. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled bumpy boys are not machine guns, that means the ATF has to return your bump stock if you surrendered one to them. David Codrea got his Akins accelerator back already, so get to it. But there's one catch. The ATF decided there's a 90-day time limit. That's right. After getting utterly humiliated in multiple court cases, particularly this very case that hinged particularly on making up unnecessary arbitrary rules, they had the absolute audacity to make up an unnecessary arbitrary rule. What's really sad, infuriating, frustrating even, is that even though the feds lost, even though they lost many times, they were still successful in destroying the businesses that made and sold a perfectly legal product. The process was the punishment. And sure, Slide Fire can sue, and maybe it's worth the trouble. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. My parents were married. But if they do win, F-Troop still won't care because the taxpayers get the bill, and the people at the ATF will never face any true personal consequences. If you haven't been keeping up on the police state hellholes of the East Coast, that's perfectly understandable, for one thing, but states like New Jersey lost all their Jim Crow-era discretionary permitting laws when New York lost the Bruen case. So these authoritarian states reacted with floor is lava laws attempting to make practically every public space a defenseless victim zone.
Just ignore them.
But those were ruled unconstitutional as well. Now, New Jersey Governor Matt Platkin has posted to X all but begging businesses to prohibit guns. Look, pal, nobody said businesses can't buy guns. Like, not one person ever argued that. I would argue it's just dumb to exclude anybody with money, especially if they've already had a background check, because you know damn well you're not keeping anyone out who's carrying illegally, right? I mean, there isn't one single person who seriously thinks a sign stops a criminal with a gun, is there? TFB just reported on this cool muzzle attachment, what for shooting at drones and stuff, that kind of has the same vibes as the old Soviet PBS-1 silencer. The Drono Boy is basically a muzzle-loading shotgun that goes on the end of an AK. Now, it's hard to tell for sure, but it looks as though it's intended for you to be able to just drop a shot shell cartridge in the front and shoot a live round through it with the muzzle blast propelling the shot. If you look closely, you can see what looks like it might be a channel for the bullet to pass through the shot column. And honestly, it really only makes sense that it would work that way. Otherwise, you would have to walk around with a blank in the chamber. It's made by a Russian company, and it is not for civilian sales. I wouldn't even know how to go about trying to get one of these, so please, Mr. YouTube censor, your eminence, please show mercy. And now, for your moment of zen.
Originally a Chiappa triple threat, which we had cut the barrels down to 9.5 inches. All right, range is hot.
Hey friends, do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure and good American propaganda at the low, low price of $3.99? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.